Hello. Take two. Hello and welcome back to Chill Maths. Been a while. What I was saying out loud was that the tech wasn't working and then it was working. Irony. How do you spell irony? You spell irony like that, so that's good. It's where you assert that something's working when it's not. How are you doing, chat? You all right? How was your breakfast today? Specific question. Pretty good. 2 slices of toast. That's my normal breakfast. That's not the most sort of creative and nutritious breakfast, perhaps. Maybe you're way ahead of me in the breakfast stakes. Right, cool. Here's the plan. I want to talk about the even odd thing again. So I want to talk about parity for the egg maze. I need a better name for this. I need a better name for the egg maze problem. But the thing from Thursday on the... I do too many different shows, but for the Thursday stream, we talked about this egg puzzle. I'll explain it again, and I'll talk about a different way that I've come up with to frame it. I think there's some maths to do. I had some ideas, and then I thought, instead of thinking about the ideas, I'll just go live on Twitch, and I'll talk about the ideas there and see if they work out. So that'll be a thing. And the idea is really not to talk about eggs at all, and hardly to talk about mazes, but to talk about it in a different way and see if that helps. So if you've seen me talk about the egg problem before, then I'm hoping to do it in a slightly different way. If you've seen me talk about it before twice, then I'm really sorry, but I'm still on it. It's my current hyperfixation. The other thing that might happen during this stream, if I'm very lucky, is I might hit my follower goal. I set the follower goal at 128 followers. Twitch defaults to 100. I thought, no, let's set it to a round number. So I set it to 128. I'm at 124. So that'll be fun. We probably won't get there. I tend to get more followers in between streams than I do when I'm streaming. That's a very fun thing. As a quick reminder, the stream is for charity. If you see something happen, it's for charity. If something good happens, that was a good thing we did for charity. If something bad happens, let's all remember that it's for charity. Right, okay. Quick reminder on that one. The math stream seemed into the idea of chill maths. Yeah. We did an advert. The Thursday stream really kind of went a bit off the rails. It fell apart. It was one of the only times that, in hindsight, I think I should have cut the call or stopped the stream about an hour earlier. That doesn't happen very much. Normally, I've got enough content. Thursday was a time when I definitely did not have enough content. Anyway, that's the shame because the idea of the chill maths one is that everything's calmed down a bit by that point, and I can go back to doing fun maths, but things have not calmed down. So no prep time. Good. Okay. So I've come up with a different way to phrase the egg maze problem, which might be good. So my new framing works like this. Take positive integers n and r, and n is going to be the number of sort of spaces in the egg box, r is going to be the number of eggs, but I'm going to try not to say eggs too much. The problem works like this. Consider vectors x1, x2, ... xr with 1 less than or equal to x1 less than x2 less than ... less than xr less than or equal to. Now how big could these be? There are n spaces, so I'm going to go up to n. So I want an strictly increasing sequence of numbers between 1 and n inclusive. All positive integers. I guess they're obviously positive because they're between 1 and n. So for example, n equals 6, r equals 3, and these vectors are 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 5, 1, 2, 6, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 6. Oh my goodness, why have I picked such large numbers? There are 20 of them. ... There are loads. There are n choose r such things. It's not, in this formulation, it's not actually obvious anymore that there are n choose r of these. So claim there are n choose r such vectors. People in chat, do you have so we've seen, if you've seen a version of this problem before, for example, if you're watching my professional stream on Thursday, then you'll see a different formulation. Why is this n choose r? Yeah, sorry. This x1 is less than or equal to. I suppose some of my examples should have. Some of my examples, you're right, should have 2, 3, 6, or even 3, 4, 5. Maybe I'll throw in 4, 5, 6 down there as a kind of extreme example. It's a good comment about making sure your examples are representative. Yeah, so I was listing them systematically, and then I thought, oh, I'm not writing all of them down. So then I should have switched to representative examples rather than the first few. Yeah, okay. Maybe it is a little bit obvious that there are n choose r of these, because these positive integers, there are r of these are integers in the vector. In the vector, they're all different, and they're chosen from 1 to n, and they're sorted x1 less than x2 less than ... So order of choice doesn't matter. That's a sentence to explain that it's not permutations. Hi, Mumu3141. Nice to see you. Let's say hi to followers as well. I guess they might not necessarily be here, but while I wasn't live, I've been followed by Askin Naklevar, Geonic with a 0, Bicrowave203, and Mothfan48 the second. My favourite username out of that batch, well, I do like the Bicrowave, but my favourite username out of that batch is probably Mothfan48 the second. I think that's very good. I don't know if Mothfan48 is some sort of reference or some sort of obviously taken username, but Mothfan48 and then the second in words. People on here have got very interesting usernames, sometimes involving the digits of pi, so that's good. Okay, right, here's the puzzle element which I wanted to get to. So think of those vectors, n choose r vectors, as vertices of a graph with an edge between two vertices if and only if, and this is the reason why vectors are a good idea coming up, if and only if the Euclidean distance, so it's the Pythagoras thing, between the vectors is exactly 1. So this is why vectors was a good idea, because it describes how the distance between this one and this one is exactly 1, and when it really comes down to it, for the distance between these two things to be exactly 1, you have to have exactly one of the numbers changing by exactly 1. So then in here somewhere is the idea that moving along the edge, you change one of the numbers, otherwise the distance is too big. Euclidean distance is too big. And you can only move on into an empty space because you can't end up having two in the same space, no jumping, because that would sort of change two numbers or something. I thought of this when I was thinking about those graphs we were drawing. So we were trying to plot out where these points are in kind of 3D space, and that's really tough to plot out in 3D space. But then you get this kind of grid structure of the moves that you can do. In the original version of the problem, we were imagining that these were configurations of an egg box or something, or maybe bell ringing, or maybe something like that, and we were moving things around. Okay. So that's a thing. So let's do another example down here, and I'm going to try and pick smaller numbers. So example, n equals 4, r equals 2. So now there are 4 numbers to choose from, and we're picking 2 of them, and they have to be in increasing order. So the options are like this. And I'm trying to lay them out sort of reasonably. I know that's not quite how Cartesian coordinates work, but I'm trying to lay them out so that things with matching components match up. If you think of these as nodes of a graph, then let's draw maybe circles around them. Yeah, maybe I'll draw a little. I just want to draw lines between them. Let's draw lines between them for edges. Different colour. This blue pen is quite strange. It comes out grey for a bit and then it switches to blue. There we go. Okay, so we've got a little graph going. And here's the question. Is this graph traversable? I looked up some graph theory words. Firstly, to make sure that I could spell vertices. Important. Secondly, to look up what it means to be able to walk along a route that visits every vertex exactly once. And this is the thing I want to do. Inspired by like bell ringing, where you have to visit every chord that you can play on the bells individually, every kind of sequence of bells. What do they do with bell ringing? Not important. You have to visit everything once. This is all, for me, all about visiting these points. And in the 4-2 case, this example is not traversable. You can't visit all of the black coordinate vertices once without any repeats. So this is a property that you can, so traversable means you can visit every node. Let's do it once again. Visit every node exactly once. So maybe you would start here and visit every node exactly once, moving only along the edges. I was going to say you can reuse edges, but actually I don't think you can, because if you're reusing the edge, you're going to end up reusing the vertices at the ends of the edge. I guess importantly, you don't have to use every edge. And the answer is sometimes yes and sometimes no. So there are different cases here, loads of different cases. N equals 4, r equals 2. So for n equals 4, r equals 2, no. But for n equals 3, r equals 2, yes. So for n equals 3, r equals 2, the graph looks like this. And this is very traversable, but maybe not in a very interesting way. That you traverse it by just walking from here to here to here. Traversed it. That's not a great example because I've used every edge as well. And I said we didn't have to use every edge, so let's try to do a more interesting one as well. So I think the next most interesting one might be 6-3. Yeah, it might be 6-3, which is quite hard to traverse. So the claim I made on, let's switch back to normal pen for consistency. The claim on Thursday that live stream is that n equals 6, r equals 3 is traversable. Now, n equals 6, r equals 3 is quite a strange graph. It's got quite a lot of coordinates, kind of naturally three-dimensional because you're looking at vectors of length 3, r equals 3. But it is traversable. I have a proof by image for this. Let me try and find it on the web. So this is an ancient yeah, found it. Okay, super ancient blog post. Looks like this on the A periodical, where I did the n equals 6, r equals 3 case. I don't know if people found this as 2020. Oh my goodness. So there I was imagining moving things by around through an egg box. Oh my goodness, I think that's the same jumper. I love this jumper. What was this? Oh, it's 3 years ago. It's a very good jumper. Right, okay. Here the idea is that if you just change one coordinate, then it's like moving one egg around through an egg box. Nobody's egg box looks like this. I had to cut an egg box in half to make this. I don't really know what I was thinking. It was lockdown. It was like early lockdown when it's kind of everyone was making bread. Everyone was like, "Oh my goodness, what is this crazy world?" That's not everybody's experience, of course, of the first month of the pandemic, but I was messing around with eggs. Yeah. Then I looked in the fridge, and I'm not sure that fridges. I don't know. It depends what your fridge is like, right? So when I talked about this on Thursday, people got a little bit, well, not sidetracked, but obviously people wanted to talk about the 3x2 egg box, extra thing. I think my fridge came with. I don't know. I think my fridge has an optional egg section that I didn't install, so I can't comment on its dimensions. It's really thrown me that I'm wearing the same jumper. I do wear this jumper a lot. Good. Anyway, so back in 2020 when I had a lot of spare time on my hands. Oh, there they are. One. Ooh, nasty. These should be weak inequalities. Typo. Here's the graph. Just kind of 3D-ish. It's sort of made of triangles stacked together. Sort of inherently 3D. I mean, obviously it's 2D on your monitor, but whatever. Here is the sequence. So the idea is that this gives us a sequence. Yeah, let's put that there. And through the medium of photos of eggs, I think this gives us a sequence that we can follow. Yeah, egg sections in fridges are a thing. Herb doesn't have one. Okay, neither do I. Oh, and now we've got the conversation about putting eggs in fridges. I believe that this varies. Practice varies. Some people think you definitely shouldn't put eggs in the fridge. Some people think you definitely should. It's called engaging with chat. Do you put eggs in the fridge or not? I'm not going to comment. I think if we've got any American viewers in chat, that would be a bit unlikely because of the time difference. Okay, the Americans are asleep. Put chips there. Put eggs, as you will. Okay. So I think this traversal goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4. That's kind of exciting. 2, 3, 5, and then 2, 3, 6. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I've changed two things at once. No. I missed out one. There's a 2, 3, 4 in there. 2, 3, 5, 2, 3, 6. And then 2, 4, 6. That's the one with the eggs. 2, 4, 6. Am I capturing my cursor on this? No, I'm not. Switch that on. Here, 2, 4, 6. And I think the way this works is after a little bit, you get kind of halfway through, and things clear up after that. Yeah, 2, 5, 6, 1, 4, 6. And then, yeah, here 1, 3, 6 is now kind of symmetrically opposite. So you've got the egg, you've got the outside eggs at the outside, and this one comes all the way through, and then kind of bouncing around like that. I quite like this pattern. Then flip, sort of backwards. Ooh, hello, a cool person. I need to update that. What? I'm going to try and do that in the other thing, but I've got to remember where it lives. What is that? That's a Streamlabs thing, so I've got to go to Streamlabs. This is, I think, not the only way to do 6-3. I think there are others. Something I am not sure about. Oh, yeah. I can see another one. Okay, the same thing in reverse as trivial, right. So you start with all the eggs on the right, and you move the other way. But I can see another one, I think. Yeah. It's on screen. It's hiding on screen somewhere. Right, I'm going to update the "What are we doing?" message. Chat, can you see? You're not going to be able to describe it in chat, but can you see on screen another way to do 6 spaces 3 eggs? And for people who've just joined us, the game is you have to move 1 egg at a time, only 1 space, no jumping. Move it 1 space into an empty space along this egg box that is 6 cells wide. And there are 3 eggs. You're trying to get through all 20 possible configurations, or if you prefer, you've got all 20 configurations on screen. 20 is 6 choose 3. And you need to arrange them so that the difference between 2 images is only an egg moving 1 space. So in each of these ones, you can see 1 egg has moved 1 space and the others will stay the same. This is like, if you imagine these like cards with 20 cards, you've got to line them up in the right order. Do I log in with Twitch? Does that work? Maybe? How do I get into the thing that does what? Okay, I've got a thing. Oh yeah, we're good. Cloudbot. Is it called Cloudbot? Commands. What? Edit. Egg maze problem with parity arguments. And then I'm going to put a link to this. Hey, okay, cool. That's now helpful again. Hello, Sensation Black 1984. You've put Stone Cold in chat, and I don't know what you want that command to do. Welcome to chat. I'm up for Twitch memes, so if that's a Twitch meme I'm unaware of, it's Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's the phrase, isn't it? I'm not sure what. Have other streamers configured it so that something happens when you do that? Upstairs, step 16. What is step 16? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. It'd be terrible if you were calling me out for having an error. No? Okay. Just going to check my what message. The idea is that if you join after a while, you can do hot in chat with an exclamation mark, and Streamlabs will tell you what's going on. I have to remember to keep updating it though. So another solution. Did Bear Blast another solution? Yes, there are other commands as well. Oh! Stone Cold Steve Austin is notorious for making. Thank you so much, guys. That's fantastic. That's just what I needed. Can I create a command that does that? Yeah, can commands call other commands? Or this could be bad. This could be really bad. But then it won't call itself again. Oh, and that's interesting. So the exclamation mark things that you type don't appear in the thing up there. So I was hoping that I could set up one command that would call another one, because then we can play recursion. For example, I could have a command that calls itself, or a command that calls. I need an argument in there. Can you make this? It doesn't call itself. Yeah, iteration and recursion. So, yeah, same thing. I have tried typing recursion into Google. Have you tried typing do a barrel roll into Google? So, I think we've got that weird mix going on, haven't we? Of like we're trying to do both. Okay. I said there was another solution hiding on the screen, and there's not very much on the screen except that. Here's the other solution. Hiding on the screen. Yes, this does work. So the one that the Rude said in chat is to start with 456 and then go 356, 346, 345, 245, and so I'm working backwards through these photos. What we could do instead is to use the gaps. So this is something people said on the stream on Thursday, last time we looked at this problem. If you look at the gaps, there are also 3 gaps, and they're in 456 positions, and then 356, but then 256. So that's the start of a different solution. Or if you prefer, you can keep following down the gaps. It goes 156, 146 for where are the gaps, 145, 135. I'm just reading off the positions of the gaps, and that gives me these coordinates. You can imagine, don't do this, but you can imagine taking all of the photos and swapping the gaps on the eggs, and that gives you a sequence. Because whenever an egg moves, a gap moves. If you like, you could read backwards as well. So swapping the eggs in the empty spaces. So the punchline was just down here off screen. Swapping the eggs in the empty spaces gives the different solution and not just the reverse. 456. So if you read the gaps from the bottom up, maybe that's nicer. You get 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 5, 1, 2, 6, which is a different start to what we did up here. Different routes through. Okay. Since the stream on Thursday, I've had a bit of a think about other cases that are or are not traversable. So I'd like to go back to those now. So ... I hope the eggs were convincing. They're from back in the day when I thought about this in terms of eggs. On the stream on Thursday, we also showed that some cases are not traversable. We showed that claim Thursday again. We showed that n greater than or equal to 4, r equals 2 is not traversable. Left a weird gap in the middle of the word traversable there. Let me try again. Let's make sure we can traverse the word traversable, moving from one letter to the next without jumping around. And the proof of that was to look at these graphs that we're making. They're in 2D, so you can look at them. Yeah, n equals to, that's a good observation, Herb. What have we traversed actually? Have we got 3 cases? Yeah, we've seen 3, 2. No, okay, so 4, 2 was not, 3, 2 was. Yeah, but you're right that we haven't seen very many traversable things. And the reason for this is the graph looks like this. I'm doing circles instead of coordinates. The graph is quite large and triangular. God, this squared graph paper is really good. Something you can do with a graph like this. So this is this would be n equals 7, r equals 2. So it's like 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 6, 1, 7, and so on. 2, 1 is what you were counting. Yeah, we should do a table at some point quite soon, I think. And Rude, yes, you can traverse M1. Would you like to describe how to traverse N1? Or n equals r minus 1. Is that always true? Yeah, I think that's always true. You can switch some sort of symmetry going on. We'll have a look at the table in a second. The idea that I wanted to introduce people to, just in case they hadn't seen. Thanks, Larute. The idea I wanted to show people, just in case they hadn't seen it before, is that there's a kind of parity argument you can do. Parity means even or odd, or essentially anything that alternates. So the classic things are like counting, checking things are even or odd, or drawing checkerboard patterns on things and counting the black and white squares. And it's the second sort that we're going to do here. If I colour in half of these like this in a nice systematic way, like this, then every move that you take, every step that you take, alternates you from a white node to a black node, or vice versa. So your path, trying to traverse through all of these points, and there are several ways you might try that, by the way. Your path will always have to alternate between black and white squares. No matter how clever you are about it, you're going to alternate between black and white nodes. Yeah. But sad news, there are too many of one of them, so that you can't go through all 21 of these, alternating between them. There are 21 vertices, of which 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 are this colour, and only 9 are this colour. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's very sad. So in general, for the n greater than 4 I equals 2 case, so not super general, but in this general case, yes, the robots often use parity. Random walks on grids. If it's on a grid, sometimes thinking about the grid being a chessboard is the right thing to do. Classic parity problems. We'll do some classic ones in a minute. I'm just going to wrap this up. So general, there are what am I going to do here? There are, so this was 7, 6 along here, so I should do n minus 1 times n over 2 vertices. Oh yeah, n choose 2, James, n choose 2. There are n choose 2 vertices, of which, and then it's these ones 1, 3, 5 that are deficient, and maybe people know what 1, 3, 5 adds up to, but I'll spell it out. 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus dot 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 plus, what's this then? This 5 here is n minus 2 in general. There's sort of lots of linear stuff going on, right? Film points in, it gets wider. Now I want to turn off this play to show capture because it's just getting in the way. Okay, people know what this is? Some of the odd numbers up to n minus 2. Does this ring any bells? No, stay with us. I had problems adding up to 13 last week. You saw me, I was counting on my fingers. I didn't get to 13 twice in a row. Unlucky for some, both of us. There's a real game-changing way to do this calculation, by the way. But I sort of want to show you because there's a chance that someone will see it for the first time now. Maybe this place is for n odd, by the way. Yeah, that needs to be an odd number. I'll think about odd evens in a second. Is this similar to Map B 2023C? Oh gosh, what did we do there? Oh, is that the one with some triangle numbers in? Oh, that was the one with the sums of odd things. Yeah, so you could do something like that. Yeah, you could sum all numbers and subtract the even ones. Yeah. I'll let you do that. Odd numbers are nice though. Odd numbers, you can add them together like this. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, ... n minus 2. If n is odd, then this is, gosh, who knows, some sort of number, but it's going to be a big square. Odds are really, some of odd numbers is really nice. Game changer. I think 2 people saw this for the first time. Hooray! There's a nice answer for some of the odd numbers. The way that you spot it is that this is 4, this is 9, and then, yeah, that's 1. So that makes you suspicious that it's the square numbers. You should never be ashamed to calculate the first few terms of a sequence to see what's going on. Assuming that, unlike me, you can add up things. But you got 8, and Rue got 13. So your sequence is much more confusing. What am I doing? Gosh, this is going to be some sort of square, isn't it? With 7, it made 3 squared. Am I brave enough to generalise that? n minus 1 over 2? There's one on the corner down here, n minus 1 over 2, n minus 1. It's not really important what it is. I really want to claim that this is not important, but it is a tiny bit important. N minus 2 over 2? It's 3 over 2? Minus... Oh yeah, but then add the 1 and add the 1 over. I want add the 1 in again. So this is going to be... so you get a total of n minus 1 over 2 squared. This is for n odd, I suppose. I wanted n to be odd so that this would, work. I suppose if n is even, then this pattern of white ones keeps going, or is it? Gosh. Yeah, I think I've made a fool of myself by trying to add them like that rather than add them down the other way. If it's even, then I'm going to include a very large line in here as well. Maybe another n. If n is even, then I keep going. If n is even. I'm worried about even odd. I'm worried about parity in a parity proof. Anyway, punchline, this is not the same thing as this divided by 2. Or anywhere near this divided by 2. Ooh, we can tighten this up a little bit, can't we? Because we're not quite expecting, we're not saying there have to be the same number of even and odd nodes. After all, your path would start and end on nodes that are the same colour. So we're saying maybe out of this 21, it would have to be 11, 10, but it's actually 12, 9. That's quite subtle, actually, isn't it? That's quite subtle. That's quite subtle. Maybe we should do some more examples. These are my ideas. That we should try and generalise this kind of parity thing. That try and generalise this. Yeah. So the n odd case is kind of easier. It's the one I'm currently doing. So if you draw a graph like this, then you get these diagonal stripes of vertices coloured each colour, black and white, black and white, black and white, and then this diagonal has more things in it than that one by 1. This one has more things in it by 1, and this line has more things in it than that one by 1. Which makes me think that overall it exceeds by 3, but that's not true. Oh, that is true. So the difference is 3, but the difference should only really be 1. The difference could be 1 if you're planning to do a long sequence of path through all of these things, alternates between the two. The difference 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 are kind of fence posts. Yeah, it feels like Pascal's triangle time, doesn't it? Let's think about the even case. So in the even case, you have the even case looks more like this. N equals n even. I'm just going to draw exactly the same thing. Yeah, I'm just drawing exactly the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe I don't need different cases. This looks exactly the same. That's bigger than that. That's bigger than that. Oh, but now there's 5 things. Right. Oh, that's 1's bigger than 0. So this is fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 1. 2 end up with 9. 6. So the difference is 3 as well. Okay, there's some slight subtlety between even and odd cases. Chat message. Whoa, hello. Quick, completely unrelated question about a problem book I'm doing right now. Where the Earth is rotating. Oh no, this is relative motion. This is fine. The Earth's rotating west to east. Let's do it on screen. We're not going to do everyone's homework on the stream, but we might as well do someone's homework. Which one's west? It's a geography test, right? You've got the Earth. Okay, so they tell me that the Earth is rotating. Speed west to east. I can't remember which one east is. It's this one, isn't it? Speed v. Velocity v. Oh no, hang on. Velocity ve for the velocity of the Earth. Okay. Some sort of like that's the velocity of the ground. Okay. And plane at the equator flying at velocity v. Yeah, okay. I have some questions. What do planes look like is my first question. You got a plane at the equator. I think I've drawn some sort of bird, never mind. It's flying east. Heading east. At velocity v. And if the plane is heading east, the relative speed to the Earth's surface is v minus ve. It's heading west, then the relative speed is v plus ve. The solution of the book has the opposite. Okay. So so it's about relative motion. E is the direction that sticks on the E point. That's great. The only thing that can go wrong is if I try and remember it as the direction that sticks on the W point, and I put the W up here. That'll be sad. I like breaking mnemonics. Mnemonics assume that you already know something and you're trying to remember one last bit of detail. If I'm forgetting 2 things, then you can break a lot of mnemonics. So I have a lot of questions for Amantha here about, I guess when you say the plane's velocity v, are you imagining that relative to like an unrotating Earth? If the Earth wasn't rotating, the plane would be going at speed v relative to that reference point. Then yeah. Neutrino says what? And it's not what we're doing. V is the airspace. Yeah, so what's V relative to? So the trick to imagining these things is usually, what if? Does that mean anything? What if V and V are the same thing? Really fast plane, maybe. The thing is, planes don't fly at... Planes fly relative to the surface of the Earth. This feels like a kind of flat Earth argument, doesn't it? V is the airspeed? The airspeed of the plane, oh gosh. Oh, okay. No, I've confused myself. Here's something not helpful. Forget the sphere. Forget the west-east stuff. Lots of air moving at speed v1. If you have some air moving at speed v1 over the ground, and you just release a little balloon in there, then the balloon will travel at speed v1. At which point you might say, okay, the velocity of the balloon relative to the ground is v1. The velocity of the balloon relative to the air is 0. It's just going with the flow. If you put a plane in instead, with massive rocket engines, how do planes work? Jet engines, that's what they're called on a jet, isn't it? Then you might expect the plane to go at some sort of speed v, like faster than the air, like plus a bit more. And then you could start to say things like v1 plus v relative to the ground, because it's going at speed v relative to the air. Now, I don't quite know how we're going to put in relative to the ground if you start moving the ground as well. In some sense, the plane doesn't care how fast the ground is going. That's really far away from it. But in some sense, the plane does care how fast the ground is going, because the ground's been moving for a very long time and the air's moving along as well. I think I agree with you, though. I think I agree with you. Because you said the ground's moving at VE. You said the ground's moving at VE. Oh, I ripped out a great picture of a plane there. Can I have the plane back? Yeah. Ground's moving at speed VE. Plane at the equator. Right, so I guess the plane at the equator flying at velocity v relative to what? Relative to what? When you brought in the first v, relative to what? That's, I think, the point where I get confused. Right, good. Okay, Pascal's triangle. Back in we go. It's hard not to read them as a kind of trick sometimes. Okay, Pascal's triangle. So Pascal's triangle looks like this. I love drawing Pascal's triangle. Honestly, the number of problems where Pascal's triangle is either the correct answer or the right thing to draw along the way. Brilliant stuff. So, I'm going to... That's all right. Don't worry about it. I had a go. I don't think I said anything useful. I'm going to circle things in blue if they're possible. So, blue for traversable. Blue. And thanks to Larud in chat, if there's only one egg, n choose one, n spaces, one egg, you can traverse it by moving through all of them in a row. These problems are all traversable. If there are two, what do I want to do? So these lines are for different n's, and then reading across is n choose r. So n equals 2, if there are two spaces... Ah, no, I've circled the cases... These ones I've just circled the even easier cases, where... These are the even easier cases where there are no eggs. There's only one photo to take, no eggs. This is the n choose 0 column. So this is diagonal, sorry. This diagonal is like... n equals 1... n equals 2, n equals 3, n equals 4, n equals 5, n equals 6, and then it's the diagonals that are like r equals 0, r equals 1, r equals 2. I could draw this table in a more sensible, like square way, but I think it's going to have some nice symmetries drawing it like Pascal's triangle. Plus, Pascal's triangle shows you the number of vectors in each case, the number of vertices on the graph, which gives me a good sense of which problems are hard just by being large. Right, now the next diagonal down, we've got the case where there are increasingly many states, but they're all right next to each other. That's the case with r equals 1. This is the case, for example, I let you choose from numbers 1 to 6, but I only let you pick one of them. So your choices are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and those are traversable because you can go from one to the next. Brilliant stuff. Not rocket science yet. In r equals 2, we saw that this case where there are 2 eggs in 2 spaces is traversable. You put the eggs in the egg box. There they are. That's the only place you can be. We saw this one with 3. The 3 choose 2 is traversable. We saw that one happen. We saw that 4 choose 2 is not. We didn't think about 5 choose 2. Or 6 choose 2. And then after that we thought that these ones are not traversable. So maybe I'm going to put red circles or something for not traversable. Red. Okay. It's going quite well. You circle the 2 right diagonals. Yeah, so reflectional symmetry. Not at all obvious from the vectors. And what it means to be a traversable graph. But if you think about it in terms of the egg problem again, the photos I've got are for 6 choose 3, which is not really helpful, but if you think about taking the complement of each vector, so in your traversable path through, maybe you solved the 10 choose 4 problem or something, 10 spaces, 4 eggs, or you've written out the vectors with 4 things in, distance 1, then you can relabel all of the points there with, instead of labeling it with the 4 things you've chosen, label it with the 6 things you haven't chosen. And then the structure is exactly the same. Changing one of the numbers by 1 means changing one of the numbers you haven't chosen by 1. It just exchanges those 2 numbers between. Anyway, so the graph structure is exactly the same. Everything works out. Your traversal on the original problem for vectors of length 4 is the same thing as traversing vectors of length 6, of which there are the same number. Relabeling the graph. This also means that if a problem is not traversable, then reflecting over, that's also not traversable. So because, let's circle these ones in first. Because if you could traverse something over here, then by reflection you'd be able to traverse it on this side. You can reflect it both ways to switch between labelling your points with the integers you've picked versus labelling them with the integers you haven't picked. So having done the r equals 2 case, that's actually similar to down this diagonal, the kind of n minus r case, which means that these ones are impossible. Okay, good stuff. But then 6 choose 3, hiding under here, we saw that one is possible. So this is quite a nice structure that we're developing. Okay, so we've got this nice reflectional symmetry, which we would have discovered if we drew it like a square grid. I think it would still have the symmetry in the diagonal down the middle, but somehow labeling it like Pascal's triangle makes it look nicer. Okay, I have several questions. I want to know what happens in the next row down. I want to know whether patterns keep continuing. Do we have any guesses in chat? Hypothesis is take you a very long way in mathematics, having a guess. Collecting evidence for small cases like this is supposed to give us enough information that we can make this kind of guess to start looking somewhere else at least. I'm going to do some circling based on what we know. These problems on the outside are easy. That one's got choose vectors of length 0. Oh, okay. Choose vectors of length 1. Oh, still easy, traversable. Choose vectors. Choose everything. Choose all the numbers that you've got available over here. Okay. Traversable because they're in one state. Vectors where everything except one thing. Oh, okay, it's traversable because you can move between them. And then these ones, the 21 cases, are examples of n choose 2. We talked about these just now, and I did a pretty bad attempt at some sort of parity argument to say that they're not possible. But we've got a pair in the middle here that I don't know about. What do I think is going to happen? Herb's got an idea. We've got some Herb guesses. Yes, yes, no. Yes, yes, no. Yes, yes. Oh, I'd like to guess that the 35 state thing at the bottom there is traversable. Oh no, it's already abandoned. Expanded the triangle and added fractions. Pascal's brick wall. Ooh. I'm always interested in ways to mess with Pascal's triangle. That sounds good. If you want to see it on the stream at some point, let me know. So we've got something tricky now that the cases going further down are going to be 35 or more states, I think, for anything I care about. And not obvious how we're going to do things further on. So what also worries me is that the parity argument doesn't just carry across. I kind of it'd be possible to if this one was red, not traversable, then I'd say looks like it's going to be just red all the way down. These ones in the middle. You get these easy cases that you can do, lots of cases that you can't do, and then 6 choose 3 is a kind of beautiful exception in the middle. I don't know about that beautiful exception bit. Irv has got new idea about maybe colouring this one in red because that looks nice. That's this kind of triangle. We should probably just go and test it, right? If I got any intuition for this, so that's the 7 choose 3 case. 7 choose 3, 35 states. 35 states, and it might be the case that half of them are colour one colour and half of them are colour the other colour. Let's try and work that out. I think that'd be my first guess, to try and look at parity. So out of these 35 states, maybe it's 18 of one colour, 17 of the other, which doesn't prove anything because you could do a path, or it could be really complicated and there's no way through. Or it might be the case that there's some bigger difference. I'm going to try and do that problem, I think. Always with these problems, trying to tackle the next hardest problem. Not too big a jump, but trying to get up to the next one. Okay, so I think I'm going to investigate 7 choose 3, which is quite a long way down. Okay. Let's investigate. N equals 7, R equals 3. Now, hey! Oh, it's the hydrate thing. It is exactly 1 hour into the stream. Remember, if you're human, if you've been looking at a screen for an hour, remember to look away from the screen. It's good for you. And the hydration channel point reward means not just me, but if you're watching at home, remember to drink some water. Okay. How should we do this, chat? So for 35, I think I could list 35 vectors. It'd be like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 5, 1, 2, 6, 1, 2, 7, but like 35 of them. I could list them, and then we could circle them and count them. Let's say 35, right? Maybe I should do that while in chat you try to think of a cleverer way to analyse this. I'm going to try and do it. Okay? That's the challenge, I think. I'm going to do it the stupid way. You try and come up with some better strategy. That's called outsourcing. It's not always a good idea. 1, 3, 6, 1, 4, 6, 1. Oh my goodness, this is much harder than I thought. 5, 6. No, my system's broken. I should not have looked away. What am I doing? Those are the ones that start 1, 3. These are the ones that start 1, 4. And I want to sort of line them up because I think it will look nice. End 5, 1, 4, 6, 1, 4, 7, 1, 5, 6, 1, 5, 7, 1, 6, 7. That is the first. 15 of them out of 35. Oh, light background music. That sounds nice. I don't know how licensing works. Yeah, compare sum of tetrahedral numbers. It's probably that. Comparing the sum of some numbers. I think I'd like to do it like that. Yeah, this is a tetrahedron. This structure here is a tetrahedron, and there's a tetrahedron hiding inside it. So every other thing has got a sum of particular parity. Yeah. So above this lot, there's another layer that goes 2, 3, 4 to start off with, and then this layer. Oh gosh, each of these layers has a kind of parity thing going on inside that particular layer, which, oh gosh, if I was cleverer, I would have already been able to sum it, but I haven't been able to sum it yet. So the next one up there's a 6. It says 35 is 15 plus 10 plus 6, 3, 1. Yes. So I've got another triangle over here, which starts with 3, and it goes 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 6, 3, 4, 7. How's it going with the good ideas in chat? Digits of Pi is your infinite music. Yeah, I think. Okay, so maybe I've got to compose the music. Is that the copyright situation on Twitch? I don't know if you watch a lot of other streams, but if there's a go-to standard, is there a such thing as like built-in Twitch music? Can I do that? That'd be nice. Just like if Twitch could help me out here. YouTube's got a service where you can add sort of free licensing music. You can add open license music to your video. That's a bit odd. You make the video first without any music, and then you upload it, and then you select a backing track or something. Never really been into that as a prospect. Okay, so I'm going to circle this one for having an even sum. These ones have got even sums. These ones have got even sums. Even sums. And then stack it up. That 2, 3, 4 has gone to odd sums, but that's even. And then that 3, 4, 5 has an even sum. Even sum. Even. So count the even sums: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, but only 16 odd. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Miscount. Do over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 even. So that should be 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Odd sum. Pack it up, we're done. Wish thinking in 3D properly was easier, yeah. Fear we're going to do a 4D problem at some point. So, okay, I can see a bunch of triangles in the structure. By the way, this is we've got lucky in a way. This is enough for a proof that 7 choose 3 is not traversable. Let's put that on the chart. So this is the same sort of parity idea that we were using for the triangle above, except now for the 7 choose 3 thing with vectors of length 3, it's longer vectors, longer strings of numbers or whatever. But same idea about counting. Excuse me. And now I'm starting to think that these are looking a bit impossible after a while. So what have we got? So in the first triangle, the even sums outnumber the odd sums by 1. I'll use red, fine. In the next triangle, the even sums, the 4 circle things, fall behind by 2. And then the next one, they win this one by 2, they lose this one by 1, and then they win this one by 1. And the idea is then that they end up more than 1 ahead. They win the first one by 3. Starting backwards was easier for this one. What does starting backwards mean? Are you starting at 5, 6, 7, or to list them out? The rude classic trap, I'm afraid. The thing you're thinking of is whether you can draw all of the edges. There's this kind of classic, I know the problem you're thinking of, where you try to draw shapes where you're trying to draw all the edges, and then the trick, yes, is to count the ones with an odd number of edges. That's different from visiting all the vertices. Example, I shouldn't have drawn that bit on the top, but the kind of envelope shape problem has got too many nodes of odd degree, but you can still visit them all. You just go around the bottom. You can visit all of them. You don't have to use all the edges. No, it's fine. There's 2 extremely similar problems that you find out about at about the same time that are basically indistinguishable. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. That's kind of like the highest point in the tetrahedron. The awkward thing about the tetrahedron, by the way, so if you're imagining stacking these triangles up into a tetrahedron, the awkward thing is that the right angles do not line up. That 2, 3, 7 actually lies above this point here. They stack towards the right, so this is the highest point, but it's kind of sitting on top of this point, which makes the graph a little bit harder to visualize. Yeah, leaning tetrahedron. I sort of want to build a model. I'd need 35 little cubes. I don't have 35 little cubes, but stack them up. Right. So I've got this interesting sequence. I guess before we were looking at the difference between even and odd ones, and whether this sum is +2 or -2. It has to do with the evenness or oddness of it, but and whether that 2 is like n -1 or n -2 is to do with the evenness or oddness of the number of things along this edge. But if you've got one triangle on its own, this is impossible, because that difference between the even and odd ones is insurmountable through your path. Here we're imagining adding them all together because we're counting this kind of overall thing. And if you're adding together quite a few of them, then this looks like you will get either, if you end this sum, so you're always going to have the kind of top of the tetrahedron. I'm now using herbs, so I'm thinking from the top down. You're either going to have, starting up here, you'll end up with a deficit of maybe if you stop here, you end up with a deficit of 2. So that's a proof by parity that I don't know how many choose how many. It's awkward because the numbers will be different. If you change this to try and be a map of a different problem with different numbers, then the actual numbers written inside the circles will be different, but the kind of shape of the graph is kind of the same as tetrahedron but larger. So always what we're doing is taking the points and labeling the numbers, but then ignoring all the labels and just colouring them in according to the parity of the sum. Yeah. I guess what I'm expecting is after a point, this thing stops being traversable. Ah, no, so the even cases, the ones where r is even, no, the ones where n is even, the sequence is really interesting, adding together alternating numbers like this, because half the time you end up with a really large sum. So you can imagine this. You can imagine going a couple further. So 9 choose 3 problem. Idea for 9 is 9 r equals 3. My idea here is that you'll end up with a kind of a +1, -1, +2, -2, +3, -3, +4 situation, where the picture's like this, just larger, and keeps going out. So it's much harder for me to write down because there are loads more points, but they kind of form this tetrahedron structure, and half the time the even-summed ones win convincingly, and half the time they lose, but not quite so much. So they end up overall way too many even-summed sets. Vectors. So this is, I think, not traversable. But this argument doesn't work for even n r equals 3. But this doesn't work for n equals 8, r equals 3. So I haven't tightened this up at all. Something I've realised about streaming maths is I have to skip a lot of details because I can't work them out live. So I'm skipping a lot of details again, but what I now believe is that if n is odd and r is 3, then this is not traversable. And if n is even and r is 3, then the parity argument is inconclusive. Because I think if n is even and r is 3, I think you get equal numbers of, sometimes we call these black or white, sometimes we call them even sum, odd sum, or this kind of parity idea. Doesn't work out. Oh, and you're just going to rewatch it and work out the details. Okay. Some of it's in my head, which is annoying because what's in my head's not recorded in the VOD. I'll try and give you some notes, just in case you come back to this. The sequence that I want to understand it in is, back up at the triangles. Your triangle has this disparity in the parity, where sometimes the sum is odd, sometimes the sum is even, but because this diagonal is long and then this one's a little bit shorter, each time you end up with, in some cases, just total domination, in some cases a little more confusing, but overall you end up with more of one than the other. And it might be the case that it's always the case that the thing in at the top left of this picture, the thing off on its own in this corner of the triangle, wins. N's and R's. I always have Oh no, my ends and R's look exactly the same. I think I do curl my ends a tiny bit sometimes, not always. Handwriting advice from James Monroe. Terrible idea. And then taking that idea, we've got this idea that there's a disparity in the parity. It's that's just nonsense. I should stop saying it. There's disparity. But the alternating signs here, the plus and minuses, are because sometimes in some layers of this tetrahedron, the top corner, or that outside corner, this picture is exactly the other way around from the previous one, sorry, is alternates parity on the way through the different layers of the pyramid. The different minimum numbers. So if you like, you can split up all the cases based on what the smallest number is. What's x1? Oh, blast from the past. About an hour ago, I defined the number x1 to be the smallest. These are different cases where the sign of x1, x1 plus 1, x1 plus 2, the sign of that sum, which is 3 times x1, the sign of 3 times x1 plus 3, so the sign of that, the sign of that alternates on the way up, because 3 is odd, and as you increase x1, you get these different cases. So overall then, the numbers in red on the screen, plus 3, minus 2, plus 2, minus 1, plus 1, should be a way to show that that parity is, again, there's that imbalance that adds up. Even with the plus and minus signs, they make it slightly harder, but they're saying half of the cases now. This thing doesn't work. Okay, so a little bit more hazy, not 100% that everything on the screen is going to be correct, but it's the chill math stream. When is 100% of the stuff on the screen correct? For example, that should be a 5. We've got some easy cases out here. I want to write down the next row as well. I've decided that odd and even is important here as well. I sort of regret writing the numbers down. Let's go for dots. So we've got some easy cases on the outside. And then we've got some impossible cases. We know that for r equals 2, things get impossible. Triangles are not traversable. That's not quite what we've been doing, but triangles not traversable. And then we think we've got this alternating pattern. It doesn't hold at the start here, but then after a while, the thing starts alternating, maybe. Or at least enough to say that these ones are not traversable. So now, hard question, do we think these things in between are traversable or not? I now have quite a strong opinion. You won't like this, because this comes out of nowhere. My strong opinion, for which I have no evidence, is yeah, that's looking a bit like Sierpinski's triangle. That started to look like Sierpinski's triangle. Padded with some blue lines on the outside, but I know that shape. If somehow these three are blue, that would be amazing. That would be so good. If these three are blue, I'll be so happy, because maybe, just maybe, it's consistent with this being Sierpinski triangle forming a larger triangle. Yeah, I think we need Zoe in. Got to do some counting. The problem is, I thought about how I would code this, and surprisingly tough to think about how you would loop through a vector of You want to loop through possibilities for x1, x2 up to xr, which is a little bit tough. It's not obvious to me how you would do that. I know how I'd write the code for r equals 3, I think. There are 3 numbers. They can go from 1 to n. Should we do that till Zoe gets here? Let's do that until Zoe gets here. Somebody page Zoe. I've got half a feeling that the parity argument's down the middle. Oh wait, parity down the middle, let's think. I have a totally different idea for parity down the middle. 2n choose n. Which is sometimes the parity, yeah, no, sometimes doesn't work, and sometimes, okay, sometimes doesn't work, and sometimes isn't helpful. I was going to say the idea about changing to the other half. So if you're doing the 6 choose 3, then you have the sum of the 3. You could look at the sum of the other ones to pair them all up. No, you could look at the sum of, yeah, look at the sum of the other ones to kind of match up pairs with the same parity, but that's not helpful. You want to match up something with the opposite parity. And then if you do the matching 2 successfully, you just prove that it's fine. You match up almost everything, but leave 3 things left over, unpaired, so that the parity is not matched. This is a surprisingly tough proof. Right, okay. I think we live code. Yeah, because we've got some dots for I'm not sure. This one's like I'm not sure. I'm not certain, but I am pretty sure that the parity is just out. What we do, 35 minutes of live code? It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. But it stands a chance of being Sierpinski-ish. And for Sierpinski, yeah, if h choose 3, oh, but I won't know that h choose 3 is actually traversable. No, I'm never going to prove that h choose 3 is actually traversable. I don't have any plans for traversing anything. Live code? Live code. It's going to be MATLAB, I'm afraid. It's going to be MATLAB. Whoop. Ooh, there we go. Okay. So what does this need to do? This needs to have n, and it needs to have. We're going to fix r equals 3 and just work down that diagonal. And it's going to go something like it's going to have variables x1, x2, and x3, which need to be for between 1 and up to, they could be as large as the number n, and x2 could be as large as n, and x3 could be as large as n, but they've got to be in increasing order. So this is going to be, this starts the count at x1 plus 1, this one starts the count at x2 plus 1, and then there's some logic to say what we're actually doing. But let's just for now display x1, x2, x3. I'm going to check we're listing all of them. Let's throw in n equals 7, r equals 3. Okay, so this should spit out all of the 35 things. There they are, down here. Sorry, that's tiny. Can I make that larger? I'm not sure how to make that larger. Okay, it's spelled out some stuff. Looks plausible to me. I'm too lazy to count those, so we're going to assume that's fine. Hey, there we go. There we go. A little bit of live code. What do I want to do? So I want to count how many of them have an even sum. So count even. So we start at 0, and then instead of doing this, we're going to go something like if, Lord, and then we're going to look at the sum. x1 plus x2 plus x3 mod 2 equal to 0, then count even is, I'm too scared to do. Does MATLAB do that? I think MATLAB does do that. Maybe it doesn't. Just to be safe. Good. Now I'll do some counting. I'll do some counting for us, and I'll count how many of them are even, and then at the end we'll just disp count even. Okay, so this will do the 7 choose 3 case, and it should come back to tell me that 19 of them have an even sum. Or is it 16? Let's find out. 19 of them have an even sum. There's a tiny little 19 down here now. Okay, and I also want to display the value of n choose 3, which is like n like this. Because I wanted to see if out of those 19, so there are 19 even permutations, the ones that are coloured in one of the colours, because the sum is even. This is modular arithmetic to check if this thing is a multiple of 2. Never mind. Right, what do I want to do? So that's kind of enough for me. I want to tidy this up a tiny bit. Sorry for this terrible code, right? This is absolutely awful. Yeah, no, it's not happy with me. I'm not sure why it's not happy with me. So the brackets, it's the brackets. Cool, 19, so 35 total, of which 19 have one parity, but that's more than 36 over 2. It's more than 18. You could just about imagine, yeah, 18, 17, but it's actually 19. Yeah, I think I want this to be that and that take that. So this is now printing out the number of evens and odds. If they differ by 1 or 0, then we're fine. Okay, this seems good. So yeah, we're like n. We'll go. Let's print loads of things in a row, so I can look at it. Okay. Oops. Good. Oops. Okay, so for n equals 7, there are 35 vertices. 19 of them are one colour, 16 of the other, not traversable. Now, I think for n equals 8, this will come back with the same number of even and odd. Same number of even and odd sums. Right, so for n equals 8, there are 56 vertices, 28 of one colour, 28 of the other. And then I think for 9, it becomes not traversable again, yeah, because look, the split is 44, 40. For n equals 10, I think it'll be even split again. Yeah, good. Then for n is 11, that difference is 5. And essentially the pattern here is out by 3 equal, out by 4 equal, out by 5 equal, and it's gonna alternate between those two. Okay. It's the r equals 3 stuff. So that's convinced me that the 3 diagonal, which was over. How do I get back to it? I have no idea how to get back. Yay! That's convinced me that the 3 diagonal down here, I was correct. That one is not traversable. Let's put it in more certain now. Oh, we got a number out of it as well, didn't we? We got a number that was 84, 120. Yeah, so 84 goes here. This is 36, this is 84. Oh, there's adding, isn't it? It's adding. I can do adding. And the 84 case there is not traversable because there are 40 of one sort and 44 of the other. Good, okay. Back to looking like Pascal's triangle. So now I think what I want to do is try out, for this one we found that the parity argument is inconclusive for these cases. In these 2 cases there, I was about to drop a circle, but I can't because the parity is actually equal. So maybe they're traversable. That'd be nice. Let's check the r equals 40, n equals 8 case. So there's the 8 choose 4 case. Ah, no. Somebody emailed me about the 8 choose 4 case. Someone emailed me about the 8 choose 4 case. Let's try it out on a parity argument. So I like this. I'm going to save this somewhere in my files. Try not to broadcast my file system. Please don't hack. We're just doing some live code. We're just doing some terrible live coding. That's what Twitch wants. Yeah, we can try RX4 with an extra for loop 2. Yes. The sleep folder. Oh, can you see my folders? Yeah, sleep was an attempt to track data from my Fitbit to analyze sleep data, but the data format was too hard for me to work with. Which is really embarrassing because the data format is really simple. But really, that one was an excuse for me to log in. You got to see the list down the left. That's good. What am I going to put? What am I going to call this? This is going to be egg count parity. Good. Okay, we're going to have a go at putting in a fourth for loop. I'm really not sure how I would generalize this. I'm going to put in a plus x4 in here as well. So it's starting to feel like I should, you see, I also want to loop over loops. I don't have any clever ideas there. Do I need to put in another end? Oh no, I need to line up the ends. That's what's crossed with me. Yeah, this is not good code to write in an extra one. This computer does not have. This is the chill stream, right? It's not the work stream. Please don't hack the work stream either. Oh, okay, good. This is no longer correct because this should now be. This is the worst code I've ever written, and I've written some bad code. Thinking a little bit now. Is it the worst code I've ever written? Okay. Let's test this on something small like 6Gs4. So 6Gs4 comes back as n is 6. There are 15 cases in the 6Gs4 thing. That's the same as 6Gs2. And the parity is really mismatched. There are 9 of one parity and 6 of the other. Brilliant. Okay, let's look at 7Gs4. What are we hoping for here? What are we hoping for? That's the question, isn't it? What are we hoping for? 7Gs4. We think 7Gs4 is not traversable because of the same reason that 7Gs3 is not traversable. So I think this is going to be not traversable. Yeah, this is the 1916 case. There are 35 cases, 19 of one colour, 16 of the other. Phew, okay. Let's try n equals 8. Let's come back not traversable, right? So n equals 8, there are 70 cases, 38 not traversable, 38 of one parity, 32 of the other. So sadly, that means I have to draw a red circle here. Really wanted those to be blue circles for Sierpinski triangle reasons. Look how happy I was a minute ago in the stream. No, yeah. Is the code wrong or am I wrong? There it was red circles around 70. Saved it. It's not perfect. It's not quite what I wanted, but red circle around 70. Which could still be a bit Pascal-y. A bit Sierpinski-ish. Not very Sierpinski. Let's do 9Gs4 and see if that keeps our hopes up a bit. 9Gs4 also not traversable. That's the number 126. Okay. Oh, I guess, what was I thinking? There's a long... Oxford Online Maths Club earlier this year had a lot of stuff about Pascal's triangle. I mean, this looks Sierpinski-ish, right? Oh, not very good, but this is almost Sierpinski-ish. If those 56s are traversable, yeah. When you want something to be true, so clouds, it's still savable. I can fix it. I just need to traverse some crazy graphs. Notice we've been live for almost an hour and a half, and I haven't actually traversed anything other than showing you a sequence of some egg boxes that I took photos of 3 years ago. So it's been an hour and a half and or 3 years since I did any traversing. I'm now really pleased with this 6Gs3 thing, by the way. If you squint, it's starting to look like possible for pretty easy reasons around the outside. Impossible almost everywhere in here, right? Maybe. Definitely we've got a long string of impossible down here. Maybe the 623 one really is special. Maybe it's the only sort of non-trivial case that you can do. That would be cool. I would accept that as a solution. And I have 2 outs, right? Place your outs. If you squint, it goes blurry, but that stops you from reading the numbers. So I have this advantage over you. I can take my glasses off to automatically make things blurry. No effort required. And then, yeah, look, I can't see the numbers, so it kind of looks like blue on the outside, a bit of red on the inside, but then you put your glasses back on and you think, oh my goodness, the 623 case. It's possible. So you've got this 8Gs3 thing, where at least the parity matches up. And then we've got another one down here where the parity at least matches up outside here. I think I want to explore the RGs4 diagonal a bit further. I think I want to look at 10Gs4 to see if that's even slightly possible. It might be impossible. Yeah, okay. We can save it, 10Gs4? 10Gs4 impossible? Okay. And I think the 10Gs4 line is getting, the Gs4 line is getting more and more impossible as we go. So red circle here, that's not red. Okay, guide dots. Maybe I need another colour for passes the parity test, but we're not sure if it's actually traversable or not. Which is good. If you're going to go out trying to traverse some things, then you don't want to try things that are impossible. And what have we decided? That along the 3 row, you get this is sort of maybe possible, but then that's not. This is maybe possible, but then that's not. Down the 4 row thing, down the 4 diagonal, R equals 4 diagonal things seem to be going quite badly, because this one is not possible. And then the next one, n equals 11, is not possible. And the differences are going, by the way, the differences are going 3, 3, 6, 6, 10, 10. 3, 3, 6, 6, 10, 10 makes me think it's triangle numbers getting larger and larger. Oh my goodness, but then the next one's going to alternate. Because the next one's going to have parity on these things. The next one's going to be the sum of these, but with alternating signs. Okay. R equals 4 down here. I think this is always going to be, let's put like a red thing on here. Red thing here. We know this one continues. This one, the parity argument, I think, we do it symmetrically. And then continues. But I think if we check R equals 5 by doing even more code, I think we're going to find that the parity goes triangle number 0, triangle number 0 for like the difference between the parities. Which would be fun because those are Pascal's triangle coefficients, the actual numbers. So unsquint, look at the numbers. I don't really know that any of these patterns continue. That one I've kind of convinced myself by thinking a lot about triangles. This one I'm a bit, not really sure. This one I'm confident on that one. This one I'm not really sure, but I think it alternates. I had something, so this one alternating, the evidence for that was thinking about these triangles and how as you add another stack onto the bottom of the tetrahedron, it brings in the other sign, plus minus, this pattern will continue. And 1 take away 1 is 0, plus 2 take away 2 is 0, plus 3 take away 3 is 0. So that's the indeterminate cases. But every other case will be huge difference. 1 take away 1 plus 2 is 2. Welcome to the chill math stream. If you then take away 2 and add 3, it gets even more further from equal parity. So that one I'm sort of vaguely confident about. That can be a straight-faced meh kind of thing. I'm not quite confident that that continues. And then this third one, I'm not really sure, but it looked like we were seeing some patterns. Patterns of not just counting up, but for this line now, triangle numbers, but pausing. No, sorry, just triangle numbers, but repeating. Triangle numbers, but repeating yourself along the way. 6, 6, 10, 10, 15, 15, 21, 21. And I think that's going to continue. So my new guess... oh dear. My new guess is that parity argument, count how many of each colour there are. I think that gets you so far. I think the parity arguments eliminate diagonals like this diagonal, and then this diagonal, and then this diagonal. Really not sure about this, but and then this diagonal. But the parity arguments, I reckon, will do some alternating on the other ones, so that you end up with not Sierpinski's triangle, but a square grid of things where the only ones I need to check are the ones where both n, or sorry, where n is even. So this is my claim. This is my, I guess, hypothesis. So what do I want to say? For r bigger than 1 and r less than n minus 1, those are the two easiest cases. And if, so yeah, if you're not in this kind of outside blue diagonal world, then either n even and r odd, those are these ones with the indeterminate things in, n even, n is 6 or 8 or 10 for these intermediate indeterminate ones, and r is 3 or 5, or parity argument kills the idea of it being a parity argument. Like the parity argument has been more mathematical, more precise, and parity argument proves not traversable. So I guess I mean the parity argument works if n is odd or r is even. I don't really know why. That's the pattern within patterns that I think I've seen. So that would leave interesting cases like n even r odd. So things like 8. Choose n is 8 and r is what do we know? Not know about r is 3. N is 10 and r is 3 or 5 would be interesting to me. Be interested in things like 12, 3, 12, 5, and maybe that's all. And then maybe some more with like 14 or something. But by that time you're choosing really large things. I've got no idea if you can actually traverse any of these. I'm a bit surprised you can traverse 6 choose 3. 6 places 3 eggs. So maybe none of these are traversable. Maybe all of them are traversable, the leftover ones in between. Or maybe there's some weird pattern in between. Yeah, I've got no idea. Okay. Cool. Okay, I think that's the... I started this live stream having no idea what was going to happen in terms of the even-odd argument. I'd vaguely thought about going down the middle column of Pascal's triangle, which I believe I now have in my alternating between impossible and it'd be nice if the middle bit, not ignore the top bit, but it'd be nice if this middle bit 2, 6, 20, 70 alternates. And if all of these cases are possible, then that will continue. So it says maybe we could do that as a special case. So part of this, we've been looking down these diagonals. Maybe we should look for vertical lines or something. Let's try and look down that vertical line down the middle, just to kind of wrap up the investigation, I think. And it looks like even and odd is going to be different cases. So special cases, n equals 2r. And the idea, what have we seen so far? We've seen when r is 2 or 4, so my diagonal, r is 2 or r equals 4, this is not traversable. When r is 1 or r is 3, this is traversable. And I think we've also seen maybe, we suspect maybe, or I suspect that parity argument proves that even r, n equals 2r, not traversable. But I've no idea how to do it. I can't use my computer code because my computer code is not very good at changing the value of r. I have to add in extra for loops. It's really awkward. It's like basically at this point doing a manual calculation for each case. How do you make the r's and n's look different? Practice and access to something that lets you undo. Try again. Yeah, it'd be really nice if these keep alternating, like 1, 2, 3, 4. They just keep going. That would require us to find something traversable, like 10 choose 5. Maybe that's the strongest one to check. If somebody wants to do a maze, then what's the 10 choose 5 one like? Oh, it's got way too many. You're not going to solve that maze. It's got 252 states in it. Yeah, I'm not going to ask anybody to do that maze for me. It's got 252 vertices. It's just impossible. Just say looking for these traversable things by doing graph theory is really hard. I think checking if something's got a Hamiltonian path like this is empty hard on a graph if you know nothing about the graph. So an efficient way to help you look for this. If Herbs tonight are going to load up 10 choose 5, 252 states across, that's going to be so bad. It's going to be awful. It would be nice if it were traversable. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave Herb to do that, and I'm going to try and kill off the 12 choose 6 case with parity. Prove n equals 12, r equals 6. It's not traversable. My idea for this was to match things up, but you don't quite want to match things up, do you? The thing you can do for the n equals 2r case is to the thing you can do for the n equals 2r case is to consider the other ones. But they have the same sum, right? The sum has the same parity. Yeah, let's have a think. You're choosing half of the numbers. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There was a knock on the door, but I think it was somebody else's door. What's somebody else's door? I'm not sure if they're answering, so they might try and leave it with me. Let's find out. Naruto's going to go. That's nice. Attend each other's parties. Social gatherings, social events. I found social events got much better at university when it meant hanging out with other mathematicians. That's the combination that I liked. I thought I had a clever idea for this. It was going to be consider your 6. Consider 6 selected numbers. Switch to look at the other. But that's silly because, yeah, that won't work at all. That's kind of evidence. Yeah, okay. So Right. In the case that R is odd, if R is odd, for example, you've selected 5 things from 10. Okay. So if R is odd, you've selected 5 things, and then switch to look at the other 5. Look at the other 5, and the sum of those has the opposite parity. So because the sum here is 55, which is odd, whichever 5 you pick, here I've picked some where the sum is odd. If I look at the sum of the other ones, the sum is even. So for each of these is one of those. So the parity, same number of each parity. So that gives the green light to Herb to go and search the 10 choose 5 case, because there's the same number of each. So far today, we've seen some cases where there's more of one than the other, and then you can't successfully navigate the graph. Exception, if there's exactly one more, then you might be able to, but I'm trying not to say that too much. It's why lots of these patterns that I've pointed out have, except for the first bit of diagonal, because it's all special case. Excuse me. So actually I want to think about the case, okay, so consider the case where R is even. Okay, so write classic trick. Let's try writing R equals 2k. So then n is 4k. The stream is actually not in 4k, but maybe one day. 4k is on stream. Almost the same phrase. Okay. You can. What can you do? You've selected an even number of things. Half your item, you have the same number of even and odd, same number of even items as you had odd items. This is n. So you came along, you selected R of them. You selected R of them, which is an even number. I sort of just want to flip you. Oh no. The parity's not supposed to match in these cases. It's supposed to get alarmingly out of kilter. So I shouldn't be looking for a strategy to match up. Up here, this way, this is happy. I shouldn't be looking for a strategy that pairs up the ones of the equal parity. I suppose my suspicion is that there are more of the whatever you get when you sum the first 2k. There's like loads of them. It's a bit hard to explain why. With summing the first 2k, you will get something even. The idea is that sum is frequently even. Some sort of induction maybe to get this down to the previous case. Proof by induction works by reducing things, right? So I've got to deal with the fact that there's extra numbers on the end, 4 of them. So if I can get rid of those cases and get down to ones where you've chosen some of these, if you've chosen some of these and the even choices exceed the odd choices down here, I'm choosing a different number of things down there. The previous case is really, really unrelated. There's nothing like choosing 2k minus 2 from 4k minus 4. No, I can't see how to induct at all. 2k minus 2 from those? You might not choose any of the things over on the end there. Yeah, one for another day, perhaps. So my suspicion is that this pattern continues. And if r is even and it's 2k, then you can't do this. Do you look back at another set? Yeah, right. On the Pascal's triangle? Comme ça? Oh, look at this picture. Woo! It's got a lot of alternating kind of checkerboard quilt stuff. Oh, another case for induction. Oh, look back to lots of previous sets for induction. Oh, yeah, okay, I like that a bit more. This feels like a math question, right? But do your choice by selecting things very carefully. So if it's true for all previous even r, then strong induction. Strong induction says you can look at all of the previous cases. Standing on the shoulders of giants, where you've done all of the previous cases, which for me would be all previous even values of r. Yeah, something like you've chosen some of those odd numbers. If you choose an even number of those odd numbers, gosh, this is the other thing that's impossible about variety problems, keeping track of whether you're talking about the values of the numbers or the quantity of the numbers. If you choose you might choose an even or an odd number of the odd numbers. Parity, even or odd, come on, yes. Use all of them, there are 2k of them, and this one would be even. Yeah, let's count how many ways there are to make the sum even. Just go for it. I've got a minute left, let's go for it. How many ways to choose with an even sum? So you might choose all of the odd numbers. There is one way to do that. You might choose there are 2k of them, 2k minus 2 of them, in which case there are 2k choose 2k minus 2 ways to choose your odd numbers, and then you get to pick 2 even numbers, and you can choose whatever 2 even numbers you like. So 2k choose 2 ways to do that. So I've changed my mind about this 1. Oh no, there is 1, because once you've chosen your 2k odd numbers, you're done. Or you might choose 2k minus 4 of them. There are 2k choose 2k minus 4 of them, but then you separately get to pick some even numbers, and I don't mind which ones you pick. So take your favourites out of the 2k choose 4, and keep going. So I can write that first time, that 1, I'm going to rewrite it as 2k choose 2k, 2k choose 0. Now keep going, and just hope for the best, eh? Hope for the best. Oh, it's got some binomial nonsense. The total is this. And this is going to continue. These things are equal. Choosing 4 is the same thing, same idea as choosing. Choosing 4 is the same thing as choosing 2k minus 4.
So this is going to keep going until you get down to 2k choose 0, 2k choose 2k, where you don't pick any of the odd numbers, but you pick all the even numbers. This is equal to 2k squared plus 2k minus 2 squared plus 2k minus 4 squared. And there's got to be some sort of amazing rule about binomial coefficients, right? Where you sum the squares across even things. Use the binomial coefficient rule. I love that we've got binomial coefficients in here now, actually as the numbers, not just placeholders for the number of combinations, but the values are now relevant. Yes, I'm hoping that this is huge. Maybe I should separately do an odd choice or something. Or we'll think about the difference between this and 4k choose 2k. That's n choose r total is 4k choose 2k, which is kind of big, but so this sum. This sum's going to be bigger than slightly more than half of 4k choose 2k. That's the plan. No one said it was a good plan. Is 4k choose 2k even? Is it even? Probably. I really feel like I recognise this binomial thing. Where have I seen this before? Where have I seen this binomial fact? Squares of coefficients. Squares of every other coefficient. Coefficients. Backwards. Where have I seen you before? Sums of squares, but every other one. I think about splitting each one in terms of two things from the previous row, but I'm not looking forward to it. It'll be the sums of squares of everything plus a whole bunch of cross terms. A lot of cross terms. The cross terms would make me cross. So we're looking at an even numbered row of the triangle. So we're looking at like 1, 4, 6, 4, 1. We're calculating 1 squared plus 6 squared plus 1 squared and saying, aha. So like this is k equals 2. K equals 3. K equals 3, 2. K equals 2. I'm calculating 1 squared plus 6 squared plus 1 squared, which is 36, 38, which is more than, if k equals 2, n is 8, so in the 8 choose 4 case. Hey, thanks for the follow. 8 choose 4 case was the one with 70 in it, so it's split, which split 38, 32. So impossible. Can I make these Miro notes viewable later? This is actually not on Miro. How am I going to get these notes to? I can export it as a PDF actually. Maybe I should be doing that. If I can work out how to export it and stick it on my website, it'll appear on my website. You might notice my website has not been updated in ages. Does my Twitch page link to my website? It probably does. Where else is it going to link? Sums of squares of Pascal's coefficients. Might Google it because I kind of want to know, and it's 5 plus 4. It's turned into quite a good problem. It's quite annoying actually, but it's quite annoying that it's good. It's got no right to be a good problem in a way. No, that's mean. That was the 6th. What was that row of Pascal's triangle? 6, 15, 20, 15, 15, 1. Okay. Yeah, so 2t6 times 2. 2t6 times 2 is 452, and that corresponds to 12 choose 6. I don't know what 12 choose 6 is, but it's pretty big, isn't it? About 900? Okay, I'll Google that. I'm allowed to Google 12 choose 6. It's 924. And 452 is bigger than 924 over 2. Just. No, it's not, smaller. Way smaller. Oh, that's interesting. Let's come back. Interesting. Let's come back. Interesting. 452 is really small. Not many of them are even. Let's come back. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Okay. My idea was wrong. 452 is really low. Yeah, the extent to which something I should track if I want to spot a pattern, right? Is the extent to which that differs from n choose r over 2. So this is like +3. Whereas here, n choose r over 2 is, oops, n choose r over 2 is 462. 450, 462 by 10. And try and spot a pattern in there. I don't know, triangle numbers or something. Two more, just for larks. Just for larks. And this does feel like the sort of thing like a code, but I'm having fun. Am I having fun? I've got to do a load of squares now. 128 squared. 1 plus 28 squared plus 70 squared plus 28 squared. Oh my goodness, this is terrible. This is now becoming a bit Google reliant. 6470. So I'm trying out numbers looking for inspiration. 16 choose 8 is frantically doing calculations. Sort of want to be done. 12, 8, 70. So this is really close to being half of them, right? Because that divided by 2 is 6435. 6435 is less than 6470. It's bigger, yeah, by 35. So the sequence we're generating here is. Hang on a moment. The sequence we're generating is 3, 10, 35. For how much half of the total differs from the number of evens. If I double that up again though, I get 6, 20, 70, which I recognise as the numbers down the middle of Pascal's triangle. Looking back at n choose r, which says that, but different n and different r. So there's something going on here. There's a pattern. When there's a pattern, there's usually a sign you're doing something non-terrible. If there's no pattern at all, then it's just irritating. 3, 10, 50, 35 is also a Pascal vertical. Oh, right, okay, hang on. Oh, yeah, just an offset one, right? 3, 10, 35 is a Pascal vertical. Gosh, I love Pascal's triangle. So much we're out by. So the new kind of hypothesis is something like the number of even. The number of even. Oh my goodness, it's like 2 away. No, let's not. I'm not even going to write it out in terms of n. The relationship between the 16th row and 35k. Oh my goodness, k is 4. So 30. Where's 35 relative to 4? Like 2k minus 1. Choose k minus 1. You know, that sort of thing. That does sound important though. Yeah, because what I really care about is the difference. Just like, not just the sum of the evens, some of the odd sums as well, which is the ones where you choose like almost all of the odd numbers and one of the even numbers. Oh, and these do a nice thing as well. Oh, that's odd sum. This is hash even sum. The number of even summed ones. This is hash odd sums. You just choose one odd number and 2k minus 1 even numbers. And these are the other squares. Right, okay. Right, so here's the kind of weirdness of where we're at. If you take a row of Pascal's triangle and you square everything and you put in alternating signs, sometimes you get 0. Sometimes you don't get 0. And that matters, because that's the parity argument for, not that row of Pascal's triangle, that's the parity argument, or anything in that row, that's the parity argument for 4K choose 2K. Egg puzzle. I love maths. I love maths so much. Chasing the patterns further and further. And now I can see difference of 2 squares, right? So now I'm thinking about difference of 2 squares. Right, let's go get them. Difference of 2 squares? Yeah, I love thinking about the difference between two. The difference between two numbers in Pascal's triangle is something to do with the previous row. The difference between 2 slightly more distant numbers. And some of the two things is literally the number below. So, ooh, that's pretty exciting. I don't know what it means to multiply those things together. Maybe difference of 2 squares is not the right idea. I'm also worried that there's some like really clever line that I should write down next. If you're watching this and you're shouting at the screen that what I really need to write down is like 1 plus 1 multiplied by 1 minus 1 and then multiply it all out, then you got me. I was never going to think of that. And the answer is not 0, so it's sometimes 0. Okay, the answer is sometimes 0. I think if I had more time, I am going to be done for the day in a second, but if I had more time, I would now go and code that sum. Squares of Pascal's triangle coefficients. Squares of binomial coefficients with alternating signs. Look for patterns in that, then try and explain the patterns. Try and induct or do iteration. Work it all out. Right, good. Okay. I haven't really been paying attention to the stream side of this. Twitch says that I have some viewers, so thanks for watching. Chat's just been up for a little bit, so I think if other people are watching, then hi. I think I'm going to call it a day. This stream is every week. The polite thing for me to do would be to check if I'm free next week, so I can actually let you know in advance. Sort of thing. Yeah, it's just November, isn't it? What happens in November? It's like Thanksgiving at some point. It's probably Thanksgiving quite soon. We're not going to do it. Cool. Hey, Neutrino and Elro does Laurent. Oh, okay, cool. Right, okay. Have a nice rest of your weekend. Different approach to your maths. We'll try just like doing some maths to try and discover something new. Get quite close to having some ideas that we haven't quite nailed down, but sometimes it's the ideas that are really the hard bit, and actually nailing it down with the parity arguments. We're just going to go see family. Hey, have fun. Have a nice time. The VOD is on Twitch for 7 days. I'm not transferring them anywhere else, but if you want to catch up, we won't do anything unmissable. Good, right, cool, okay. I've now got a button for ending the stream. Get all of your family to subscribe using Amazon Prime subscriptions. Okay, that was a joke. Thank you for watching. Remember, if you've seen an advert today, then the advert supports charity. If you've used a Twitch Prime subscription, then thank you very much. Also supports charity. You can find out more about the charity we're supporting in the About section of this Twitch channel, which I think is on screen when we're live and hidden away somewhere when we're not live. Manticore City. Hey, that's Manticore. Ooh, physics at Oxford. Squares? Bye. What a sign off. Just squares.